May I begin? All right, so it started like any other day. We kind of got up at 8 o'clock, got on the bus, and then we just went down. Went down to the border. It was pretty eventful as far as border trips go, you know. We go down there. Everyone asks us the standard old questions. I was asked whether or not I had weapons, grenades or guns of that kind of sort, and I was just kind of staring at them. I said, no, I did not. And they were like, go.
Liar.
And I just kind of grabbed my bags full of the grenades and weapons I said I wasn't carrying. No. Then we just went down there. We went down to Waterport, Old Mill Run, the best restaurant in Waterport, the only restaurant in Waterport from what I saw. It's a pretty rural place. Medina. Oh, it's in Medina? All right. So the Waterport region, the Medina region, it's like the Greater Toronto region, except if you shrunk everything down, like significantly, you take your Google Maps scroll like really, really far in. That's Medina. So it's a quaint little place. Let's call it that. When we went, first of all, to this building. It's octagonal. I'm gonna grab this. Kind of like reminds me of those pagodas. You know, you see in those Japanese stereotypical films. It's a really nice building. You can tell it has a lot of life for it. And it has pretty good feng shui, you know? It's just feel it. It's custom made. Everyone's built it from the ground up. It is everyone's work from Project Life. And at that moment, we realized that what kind of effort this charity was. It's this group effort made by people who are willing to sacrifice a lot to build this building, to build up a program like this. And that begins even before we step in the building. And we'll take a look at what we were greeted with. We were greeted with a little bit of this artistic flair, this challenge that told us, so how do we symbolize things? What is the connection between all of us in our world without these barriers of language? So we got a box. It had symbols. So I'm going to try to embody this right here with what I'm doing today. Now I'm going to draw exactly what I saw. So we have this bird, I believe it was on a stick of some sort. We have wire, and we have just to show us, you know, what do these things mean to us? And how is this going to reflect on to the orphans who have to do these kinds of things to connect to this, where they're being, where they're trying to recuperate from. And we see that these things are kind of universally connected to each other. We were able to get ideas, like strong social ideas, like oppression, something like containment. Somebody got this whole great idea of having the bird in the cage, something that really connected all these things together. I'm not good at drawing, I will tell you that much. And it doesn't help. So, and then I decided to go up there. This is the gauntlet of death that you guys all know about, where the artists fall and drop down dramatically. But it gives us a sense of that kind of struggle. And even though our art maybe wasn't the best, we understood that the orphans were learning from, the orphans were taking this great experience of language, this great experience of symbolism, and this great experience of expression. Because when I drew a tree coming out of it, everyone's like, why is there a tree coming out of the cage? And I'm a kind who enjoys that nonsensical type of idea, and I spun into this idea of nature. It's kind of like a geography class. It's kind of like an English class. You get all of these varied grouping ideas coming out of any given drawing. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't necessarily have to be meaningful at the start. But then we really saw this as a reflection of what the program really meant to these people.
This is horrendous.
This is quite horrendous. I'm not very good with my visual aids. But it gives you this kind of idea. That's something that this program is all about bridging the gap between cultures with things that are universal to everybody. And that was something that we could really see. People with different artistic abilities, people with different interpretations. It is the ultimate melting pot, the ultimate mosaic that Project Life really is. Then we went downstairs and we were greeted to a presentation about really what this program was about, what this program really did. Whereas this was sort of this figurative interpretation of the program, a little sample of what that program offered to the orphans who were being rehabilitated by. Now we see exactly, by metrics, hardline, what does this program actually do to these orphans? We saw these pictures of orphans who had lost everything, lost the hope in their eyes, and I guess I'll kind of symbolize things with my drawings. What happened is that we see that these orphans were being reflected upon, and after their experience, here, they really changed. You notice they look healthier, that their skin is brighter, their demeanor is just uplifted. They return to their homes with their parents, well, not their parents, with their families. I'm sorry. You can tell I'm a little bit off today. With their families, and they're able to help rebuild what they came from. And that really allows them to connect to their culture, and really allows them to take from their experience in a world divided by culture and geographic divide. So what we see now is that they gave us the presentation, and afterwards we were able to talk with them. One thing that really stuck out to me is how this program really started. They were able to tell us that when we broke off into groups with the Project Life staff. And one of the questions that I wanted to really ask was, what happened, what was the spark, what was the trigger that made this program happen? Well, they told me it was seeing something like Bosnia on television, the Bosnian War that happened at the turn of the millennium. This was something that really just showed them that this is happening in our world even so recently. It's almost, well now, just over a decade ago. It's something that violence is always going to be here in our world. Violence is always going to be perpetuated. And this was the same thing that when we went to the clinic, Dr. Drakovich was trying to tell us. The idea that everywhere there's going to be this violence, there's going to be these people who are going to try to oppress ideas, there's going to be these people who carry this ardor, who always want to create this fighting. But there will always be people who are willing to help, who are willing to take these people who are suffering out of those situations and make the world a better place for them, either in the short term or in the long term, just to be able to alleviate some of that suffering for everybody who lives here. Dr. Drakovich told us about the Baron Chapel, told us about the Dance Macabre, the idea that even when some people have the truth in front of them, they aren't able to come to terms with that, they aren't able to use that, they aren't able to use that to make their world better. And there will always be people who will take that and who will manipulate it to show people, show as many people as they can what's really going on. And that was what we had to take from the trip today. Why did I show you these horrendous pictures, ladies and gentlemen? I showed you that no matter what you see, no matter the way it's interpreted, even with whatever level of skill you have, whatever way you express, it's more important to express those ideas, it's more important to express a message of charity, of suffering, to as many people as we can. It doesn't matter how you do it, it doesn't matter to how many people you do it, as long as you keep trying to. This is the message that Dr. Drakovich had for us. This is the message that Project Life had for us. People divided by everything, people who have lost everything, are now able to come together and take something from an experience that will change their lives. Thank you.